Universal Orlando is one of the greatest theme park resorts out there. At the time of this recording, I've only been once, and it was in 2021. I got to ride 14 rides over 2 days. I did one day at Universal Florida, and I did one day at Islands of Adventure. So today we're gonna rank up every single ride that I got to experience, because I don't know if you've heard, but this resort is opening a lot of rides, so this list is gonna change drastically. So I just wanted to document what I thought after my first visit. Before we get started, please like this video. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the attractions of Universal Orlando. How do you rank them? I'm always open to video suggestions as well, so let me know down in the comments below. And of course, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I make my videos in bunches, but at the time of this recording, we just crossed 9,000 subscribers, so we're pushing for 10K. I feel like every time I say this, it's always out of date by the time the video goes up, so either way, I'd love to keep this growth moving, and I'm very, very grateful for all of you. My YouTube analytics says we have 20,000 returning viewers over the last month, and we're nowhere near 20,000 subscribers, so if you've watched more than one video, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I got to ride 14 rides over those 2 days at Universal Orlando. So we're gonna rank up the top 10. We're gonna start things off with 4 honorable mentions, starting with number 14, which is Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. Since I rode this attraction, it has since been renamed to the Troller Coaster because they rethemed this corner of the park to DreamWorks. But the ride itself is a very generic Vekoma kiddie coaster. You can find them pretty much anywhere. It's literally an exact clone of Chippendale's Gadget Coaster at Disneyland. So it's a very cute ride experience, very similar to a lot of kiddie coasters out there, so there's nothing special. The only reason I did it was for the roller coaster credit because I'm a roller coaster nerd. Moving on to number 13 is very similar to Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. It is Flight of the Hippogriff. This one ranks higher because it has an animatronic at the base of the lift hill. It's also in a cooler themed land, like it's literally right across from Hogwarts. But that being said, it's a little bizarre that one of the most immersive lands ever created just has this basic kiddie coaster just slapped right next to this big castle structure. But you know, it is what it is. It's a cute ride experience. It has a cooler theme, which is why it ranks one spot higher. Moving on to number 12 is probably one of the weirdest rides I've ever done. It is Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. I think we only did this because it had no wait, and it was very bizarre. Like, I remember hearing about this ride, but I didn't realize like it was a full simulator themed to a late night TV show host. Like, it's very weird. It was just like kind of a strange and surreal ride experience. Like, I was just like, what is happening right now? Like, it's very bizarre. I don't think there'll ever be another attraction like this ever, so it's very unique. Universal isn't really beating the screen allegations with this attraction, but I wanted to do the rides at Universal Florida that we did not have at Universal Hollywood, and this was one of them. So I don't remember hating it, but I was just like, that was so weird. It was just it's another screen simulator. It just jostles you around. So it is what it is. A very bizarre ride experience in my opinion. Moving on to number 11, we're gonna have a big jump in quality. I know some of you might be upset with me for ranking it this low, but I put Men in Black Alien Attack in this slot. It is a really cool shooting dark ride. There are lots of physical sets, which is very cool, but it's still not the most impressive thing in the world. Like, the ride vehicles do spin, which is kind of cool. It does have 3 across seating, which is pretty bizarre, but you know, that's fine. I just thought it was a really solid shooting dark ride, and I didn't really walk away thinking it was anything better than that. Like, I'm glad there's lots of practical sets because, again, Universal Florida needs those because the park is so screen reliant. But you know, it's a solid ride for sure. I only got to do it once, and I would 100% do it again, which is more than I would say for the Jimmy Fallon ride. Moving on to number 10, we have E.T. Adventure. This one also has lots of physical sets. It's very cute. I love the ride system, how you're like looking down on all the set design. So it's a very cute ride. I'm glad they're keeping it around because I know this ride has been rumored to be removed multiple times over the years, but it's still around. Going to E.T.'s planet is kind of bizarre, but you know, it's still a very interesting ride experience. Moving on to number 9, we have Revenge of the Mummy. So I only got to do this attraction once. I got to do most of these attractions only once. But I remember Revenge of the Mummy being really, really cool. I actually did this version of the attraction before I rode the version in Hollywood, even though I'm a SoCal local, which is kind of funny. This one has like an uphill launch, if I remember correctly, and it had like a couple solid airtime moments. The big thing that this attraction has that we don't have in Hollywood is this fake out ending, which I know a lot of people like that, but I was just kind of like, huh, you know? I am a coaster nerd, so I was like, it was very obvious that this was not the ending of the attraction, so I was just like, what is happening, you know? And like the mix of, oh, it's a real curse versus, oh, we're just shooting a movie, it's just kind of like, come on, you know? I'd rather just lean into it, you know? Just embrace the story, like how all of their best attractions do. So I think the fake out ending is kind of cheesy because it's very obviously not the ending, so I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, you know? But the lighting effects on this ride are very, very cool. It's a very interesting roller coaster. I definitely want to give it another shot, especially after riding the shorter version in Hollywood. Moving on to number 8, we're finally going back to Islands of Adventure for Jurassic Park River Adventure. Very similar to Mummy, I rode this attraction before I rode the version in Hollywood. So if I went back to this attraction, I feel like I might actually drop it because the Jurassic World ride experience in Universal Hollywood, it like blew away my expectations. It was way better than I was expecting. This is still a really, really cool attraction in Islands. But the dueling T-Rex animatronics in Hollywood just absolutely destroy the single T-Rex at Islands of Adventure. I do appreciate that this is the original, obviously. Jurassic Park came before Jurassic World, obviously. And I do appreciate that that first segment is like physical animatronics, unlike Jurassic World, which has that massive screen, which is very, very, very underwhelming. But outside of that, Jurassic World pretty much demolishes this ride. Like, lots of those animatronics are very classic, to say the least. So they could use an upgrade, but you know, it's definitely a very solid ride experience. It's a classic Universal attraction, and I'm glad that the original version still exists in the United States. I'd be very surprised if they switched this attraction over into Jurassic World, because I feel like they would have done it already if that was the plan. It's kind of cool that we have Jurassic Park on one coast and Jurassic World on the other coast, so I'm not going to complain about it. But because I did this version of the attraction first, I definitely walked away very impressed. I was like, that was really, really cool. But just looking back at the POVs and comparing it to what I've experienced in Hollywood, it just wouldn't live up to that. But again, I still really, really like this attraction, just to be clear. Moving on to number 7. I have a very interesting story with this attraction. It's Incredible Hulk. So I am a coaster enthusiast, and obviously this is a very major thrill ride, but I only got to ride it once, which was kind of disappointing. I hate the locker policy for this ride. It absolutely sucks. You have to wait the entire wait time without anything in your pockets. And as a phone addicted Zoomer, that's not great, bro. But you know, it is what it is. Hopefully they can rework it to add like velocicoaster style lockers so you can have your personal items when you're waiting in line, but we'll see if that ever comes true. So my day at Islands of Adventure was very interesting. For the first chunk of the day, the two rides that I was most excited for, which are both roller coasters that we're going to talk about later, were broken. So I was really, really concerned. So I waited for Incredible Hulk, and while I was in line, it broke down and I did not have my phone. And at the time that happened, our party was separated, so we couldn't contact the other members of our party to let them know what was happening because of their stupid locker policy. So that really sucked. But we waited it out. It was like a 15-20 minute delay. And they came back up, we got on, and after we launched, I saw Velocicoaster cycling, and I was like, I could not pay attention to the rest of the layout. I was like, oh my god, get me off this ride, I want to go go to Velocicoaster right now. So I kind of did Hulk dirty. I didn't really pay attention to the ride experience. Like, those thoughts were literally racing through my head. I was like, try to pay attention to this ride, you know? And that was the only experience I had on the attraction, which was just like, bruh. So I remember it being very, very intense. That first launch into that first inversion happened so fast that I like barely even processed it. So I do want to ride this ride again. I feel like I definitely owe this roller coaster re-rides. I remember the Cobra roll and the vertical loop being very, very intense. I do appreciate how in the second half of the attraction, the second vertical loop wraps around the mid-course brake run. I love when roller coasters thread their own loops. That's very, very satisfying. And obviously this ride is very, very visually appealing. It's very iconic, just placed over the water like that. So I desperately need to get back on Incredible Hulk because this one was pretty hard to rank. It's obviously very different from most of Universal's like dark rides, and I didn't really get a full grasp of the attraction, so definitely a very, very hard attraction to rank for me, and I need to run it back. I need to get back on Hulk. Moving on to number 6 is Universal Florida's biggest roller coaster. It is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. So I got very fortunate. I was able to ride this attraction in the back. It's definitely not smooth, and it's going to be removed closer to the end of this year. I actually have a wishlist video for what I'd like to see replace Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, so you should check that out if you haven't already. But this ride has a few solid airtime moments. I remember being absolutely blown away by the non-inverting loop. That was a very crazy airtime moment, and obviously it's like twisted. So I was absolutely floored by that. I was not expecting it. Because like when I see non-inverting loops, I think of the non-inverting loops on like a Skyrocket 2, and those are really lame. Like you just curve through them very slowly. So it's like, why would you take away the most exciting part of a loop? But this one does it correct. It throws you out of your seat while it's twisting, and it might be one of the wildest airtime moments I've ever experienced. So I really hope I can experience it again before this ride bites the dust. It is not a smooth ride. It definitely had a rattle, but you know, I didn't think it was god awful. And some of the drops off of the many mid-course brake runs were also solid airtime moments. But they just did not live up to that non-inverting loop. Moving on to number 5 is my favorite attraction that I got to experience at Universal Florida. It is Escape from Gringotts. I think I'm a bigger fan of this ride than most people. This is one of the few rides I got to ride more than once. I rode it twice. I thought it was really, really cool. That tilt track was awesome. Very, very fun. It is very screen dependent, obviously, which is kind of a shame. But I remember being impressed with it. Like, it does have roller coaster moments with like that tilt track sequence that I just talked about. It also has a launch, and I didn't know about the launch. And there's like this thing where like the screen like has a door in part of the screen, and then the screen like opens up and you launch through the screen, which was kind of cool. The music is fun. It's just got a good energy. Universal always hits those Harry Potter rides out of the park, and I think this is no exception. It was absolutely an awesome ride experience, and I would love to do it again to get a better grasp of this attraction, because again, I rode it twice like 4 years ago. Moving on to number 4 is an attraction I really want to do again. It is Spider-Man. This is an awesome attraction. It's basically Universal's version of Indiana Jones. It does have a lot more screens than Indiana Jones, like infinitely more screens than Indiana Jones. But it's an awesome ride experience. I remember that part where we got hit by like the elevator ray, whatever it's called, the ray that Doc Ock had, and you just started floating. That effect was so effective. I was like, are we going up right now? Because it actually felt like we were floating. But the drop back down to ground level obviously did not feel that way. It's very exaggerated on the screens, and you don't feel a drop, obviously, so. But it's such a cool ride experience. I really want to do it again. It's so much fun. It's easily one of Universal's best dark rides. It definitely has a strong case to be in the top 3 for this list, but it just couldn't quite beat Forbidden Journey, in my opinion. This ride is absolutely incredible. I rode this version of the attraction before I rode the version in Hollywood, but I've since ridden the version in Hollywood many times. It's just an absolutely incredible ride experience. I didn't know that the Dementors got so close to you, so the first time I rode this version, I was just like shocked. I was like, oh man, that's kind of scary. Like, you get very close to the Whomping Willow. The Whomping Willow itself is an absolutely massive set piece. It's absolutely jaw-dropping. You get very close to a lot of the sets. It's a very unique ride system. There's nothing else like this ride. Outside of Epic Universe, of course. But it's a fantastic ride experience. Last time I went to Universal Hollywood, I rode it 4 times. It's just incredible. The main downside of this attraction is the screen carousels, which are a lot less interesting than the physical sets that you see in this attraction, but you know, they still work. And what I find kind of funny is that the screen carousels on this ride are basically the entire ride system for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So Disney basically stole the screen carousel technology to make their Millennium Falcon simulator. So that ride is basically the worst parts of Forbidden Journey. Which is kind of funny. But yeah, this ride experience is absolutely unreal. It was very, very, very cool. Moving on to number 2 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, which is way, way, way too long of a name, but the ride experience is absolutely incredible. When I went to Islands of Adventure, this attraction had a virtual queue system, and because of that, I was able to ride this attraction 3 times in one day, which I thought was like low-key a miracle. And I got very, very lucky. This attraction has a moving loading station, so you can't have a row request. And I got placed in the front row, which was absolutely an unreal ride experience. That was just pure magic. This ride is so fun. It goes backwards. That spike is incredible. You have a Hagrid animatronic. You have a drop track. You have like 37 launches. It's an absolutely unreal roller coaster. It might be one of the coolest coasters I've ever ridden. It is so cool. I definitely want to do it again, and I feel very fortunate that I got to ride it as much as I did, because I know this is one of the most popular attractions that Universal has ever created. It's kind of insane that this ride exists. Like, it has a switch track, it goes backwards, it has technically 2 drop tracks. They run like 10 trains or something. It's unreal. The seating is very unique, because the 2 seats left and right of each other are different. You have the motorbike and you have the sidecar, and they have different restraints. I can't think of another roller coaster that has a different restraint depending upon if you sit on the left or the right side of the train. Like, that's absolutely unreal. It's such a cool ride experience. It definitely deserves a standalone video. A lot of these rides deserve a standalone video at some point, but Hagrid's is absolutely unreal. But moving on to number 1, it should be no surprise to you, it is Velocicoaster. I also did this ride 3 times, and it's hands down one of the best roller coasters I've ever done. The theming is very, very cool. This attraction does have static figures, but it handles the static figures way better than the static figures on Incredicoaster. It has so many standout moments. The first inversion, if you sit in the back, it has like hang time, and then it directly translates into air time when you're dropping back down to ground level, and there's an insane head chopper with the rock work. And then the second inversion is pure hang time. It's absolutely unreal. There's a bunch of solid airtime moments in that first half. Obviously, the top hat is an insane airtime moment. You have a couple sideways airtime moments in that oscillating helix. And of course you have the Mosasaurus roll, which is highly regarded as one of the greatest inversions of all time. It's a heartline roll right over the water, so it's a visual spectacle. The inversion is so fast that it's kind of hard to process. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. I didn't know how to describe it after experiencing it. I did get a night ride on Velocicoaster, which was absolutely unreal. I think I rode it twice in the back and once in the middle, so I would like to try this roller coaster in the front, but it's an absolutely unreal ride. It's one of the best rides out there, 100%. Was my top 10 rides at Universal Orlando as of my 2021 visit. What do you think of this list? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you disagree? Please let me know down in the comments below. Please like this video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will catch you later.